All right, here we are. We are in it. Hey, welcome again to another edition of the Simple Virtual Cooking Class. My name is Brian Curley. I'm the chef of Simple. I'm also the chef of Season Catering and Events in San Diego. And we're here today. I'm here to share a new dish that I cooked last week and recorded a video of it. And I'm going to share it with you today and break it down with a live step-by-step narration. So I'll just give you a little intro to myself. Uh, I've been doing fresh meal delivery here in San Diego for over 4 years now, and in that time I figured out what works well for meal prep and what doesn't work quite as well, and I've developed a lot of recipes, probably more than 100 recipes that are healthy and that are um, a complement to a fitness routine. So that by learning these recipes, which I'm going to teach you today, you can step up your game in the kitchen. You can learn a few tips to cook like a chef, and you can become nutritionally self-reliant. So let me. I want to just give an intro to like who I made this for. So you've probably everyone's seen plenty of cooking videos on the internet. You've probably watched Food Network, and so you understand that certain types of cooking videos are designed for entertainment. Obviously, like you see chefs yelling on TV, and it's dramatic. There's people getting emotional, and you know flames in saute pans, things exploding. That's all fun. That's great entertainment. But here at Simple, we're going in a different direction because what I'm sharing with you is designed to be instructional. It's designed to be a tool for you to become more confident in the kitchen and to trust yourself a bit more to create food that's delicious and that also nourishes your body and helps you stay in good shape. That's what this is all designed to do. Um, as far as meal prep itself, just the concept of it, I think of meal prep as sort of like a subset of cooking in general. So by by meal prep, we're talking about creating food in one batch that's meant to be stored in portions, stored in the refrigerator, so that you can reheat them throughout the week and use them for either your lunch or your dinner, so that you can save time, not having to cook every night. Your food's ready for you. I mean, I really love the feeling of coming home after I do my meal deliveries, and I don't have to cook for myself because I've already done my meal prep and it's ready for me in a container, and all I got to do is heat it up, and then I have a nice dinner and hardly any dishes to wash after that. So that's one of the advantages of prepping your meals in advance. And one thing I talk a lot about or write a lot about in my articles is protein, because that's the element that these meals are basically centered around. When you think of the macronutrients in food, you think of protein, fat, carbohydrates. Those are the macronutrients. And I think it's important to have all three of them. I think they all play a role. But these recipes that I create are based around proteins. Um, for example, chicken, fish, beef, pork, shrimp. These are all the proteins that make up the core of my recipes. And then on top of those, I'm adding, vinaigrettes, sauces, noodles, rice, potatoes, vegetables, broccoli, peas, etc. Those are all the things that complement these proteins. But the recipes are created to be not just uh, not just the nutrients themselves, not just the ingredients, in a portion. They're made to be to use some creativity and to use some imagination. And I'm also using the best of the skills that I've learned cooking in fine dining restaurants for many years, incorporating all of those elements, those techniques that chefs use to create great dishes in restaurants, and bringing those all together to create recipes that you can learn to create these meals at home. So this is meant to inspire you. I'm not a nutritionist. I can't tell you what to eat, but I can give you some some ideas, some inspiration to point you in the right direction so that you can become a better cook at home and become more confident in the kitchen. So let's crack into it here. In just a minute, we're gonna go to the recipe video, and I'm gonna play it through all the way through. So this week, actually last week, I sent out an email to my subscribers at Simple, and it was centered around this recipe, and I give a little bit of backstory to some of the elements in the recipe um, and my breakdown of how I cooked it. So today, we're going to go through it in video form so you can actually see what I did and um, you can see it with your own eyes how to make it. So you've read about it and now you can watch it. So this week's recipe is Parmesan beef meatballs with sweet pepper marinara and charred lemon broccoli. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here and go to the video here. Our friends at YouTube. We're going to pull this up. All right, here we go. Let's play this. Okay, so we're starting out with our sweet peppers here, red bell peppers. We're going to put them on a sheet pan, and they are going to go in the oven under the broiler. And this broiler is going to cook it with radiant heat from above. And I'm going to turn it a couple times during the cooking process so that it chars evenly on all the sides. And this is what we're going to get once it comes out of the oven. That's going to be about 10 minutes. The skin is going to sort of blacken and separate from the flesh of the peppers. And in this next step, we're going to process it. We're going to put it in a mixing bowl and cover it. We're going to we're going to keep it covered for 10 minutes, and during that time it's going to steam and the skin is going to fall away from the flesh of the peppers. So the stem comes out, the skin gets peeled off, and we're going to open it up and we're going to take out the seeds. So what we're going to have left over is just the roasted flesh of this pepper. And it tastes so much more interesting and more complex once it's been charred under the broiler. It's a completely different flavor than what you get from raw red bell peppers or even from sauteed red bell peppers. I highly recommend this method. I've been using it for years and it adds so much flavor to anything that you cook. So we're going to get rid of the skin and the seeds and the stem. We're going to keep this flesh and we're going to dice it up. And it doesn't have to be um, perfect dice. That's not important. This is just meal prep. We're not trying to win a Michelin star here. Now, the next step is we're going to take some bread, just regular, any type of white bread. Sourdough bread works fine. We're going to cut the crust off and we're going to pick the bread apart, peel apart, and put it in a bowl. And this bread is going to go in the bowl and we're going to add some milk to this bread. The milk's going to get soaked up. It's going to moisten the bread. That's going to sit for about 10 minutes. And what we're doing here is we're creating what's called a panade, P-A-N-A-D-E. And this panade will be one of the ingredients in the beef meatballs. We're going to mix all this up with the ground beef and the seasoning. And the purpose of this panade is to give the meatballs some structure, to give it lightness, to soak up the meat juices as they cook, and to just give it an overall more appealing texture. We have our cheeses, some Parmesan, some mozzarella. We're gonna mix these up a bit. Onion, yellow onion. We're gonna grate it on a cheese grater, and gonna be this is gonna be one of the ingredients in the meatballs. When you grate it, it becomes more easily incorporated into the meatballs compared to if you diced it. So the cheese, the onion, the beef, it's all in there. Some salt and pepper. We're gonna mix it with our hands. Get it all nicely mixed up. That's about a 3 minute process, just mixing it. And then here, this is when we form the meatballs. We're just going to do it by hand. Um, we're going to use both hands, kind of like form them into golf ball sized balls, and they're going to go in this container. And uh, if you want to know the specifics, so these meatballs, I always aim for 2 ounce meatballs. There's medium size, not too big, not too small. It's about 3 or 4 bites each for one meatball. All right. So the method we're going to use for cooking these is sort of a two-stage method. We're going to start by frying them in olive oil, and then you're going to see how we finish them. Um, After we brown these meatballs, they're gonna cook in the oil for about 3 minutes. We're gonna take them all out one by one, put them in another container, and now we're gonna start our sauce. So remember those charred diced bell peppers? Those are gonna be part of this sauce that we're gonna create next, and it's basically just a simple marinara. We're gonna clean that pan again. We're gonna add some of the olive oil we used to fry the meatballs, some garlic, brown the garlic in a pan, and then we have some crushed tomatoes or tomato puree. I really like using the Italian San Marzano tomatoes. I think they have the best flavor. And there's our diced peppers again. They're going to go in the pan with some salt. We're going to stir it around and let it come up to a simmer. It doesn't need to cook long. So we'll take our sauce off the heat, and then we have our meatballs here. Um, a layer of cheese is going to go just over the sauce, and then one by one we're going to put our meatballs into the sauce where they will cook in the oven. Some more cheese on top. So what's great about cooking meatballs like this is there's going to be some fat, some juices that come out of the meatballs as they cook. I'll bring it back there. The juices from the meatballs are going to they're going to bleed out a little bit, not that much, but they're going to bleed out into the sauce, which is obviously a component of the dish. So the sauce is going to absorb so much of that great grass-fed beef flavor, and it's going to make it richer and just more appetizing altogether as these flavors sort of come together in the oven. So next we're going to work on our broccoli. Add some olive oil, some salt. I'm going to toss it together in a mixing bowl. And these are just broccoli florets that I've cut into quarters. They're going to go on a sheet pan. And as the meatballs continue to cook, which will take about 20 or 30 minutes, um, I've got the broiler on high. So the broccoli is going to go on the top level of the oven, right under the broiler. And the broccoli is going to get charred, just like we did to the peppers. And that's going to be about 8 to 10 minutes until they're charred, kind of brown on the top there. They're going to be, I would say they're al dente, cooked al dente. But you don't want to cook them any more than this. There's nothing worse than overcooked soft broccoli, anyways. So this gives it a really nice charred brown flavor. They're going to come out of the oven. We'll let them cool. And then I'm going to bring them to the cutting board where we're just going to lightly chop them. They'll go back into that mixing bowl that we used. And then I'm going to add some lemon zest and lemon juice. I'm going to toss it together. So this charred broccoli is going to be flavored with lemon zest and lemon juice. Really, really delicious flavors. Now we'll go back to the meatballs, which are sizzling, simmering in the oven. These are done after about 20 or 30 minutes. You can see they're nice and brown on top. The cheese is melted. The sauce has absorbed the juices from the beef. This is a delicious dish. So we're going to get ready to plate these now while the meatballs cool. Once they're cooled, mostly cooled, they're going to go into the containers. About 4 meatballs per portion. I always make 5 portions. Um, so so I shot for 20 meatballs when I plated them. So 20 divided by 5, that's 4 meatballs per portion. Into the containers they go. Pour some sauce on top of each one of them. Divide that sauce up evenly. And then we'll go in with the chopped broccoli right next to it. Delicious. Some more of that cheese blend on top. And these meals are finished. Seal them up, store them in the refrigerator. These meals are going to stay fresh for 5 days, 4 to 5 days, maybe even longer. I found, after doing meal prep for so long, I found that if you use fresh ingredients, which I always do, uh, these meals are going to stay fresher in the refrigerator for longer than most people think they are going to. You can come back to these meals 5, even 6 days later, and very often they smell just as fresh as they did when you made them. They're not going to be quite as good, but they're still just fine to eat 5, even 6 days after you make them if you've kept them well refrigerated. Now, obviously, this is a meat dish. For seafood dishes, I'm not so, I don't trust them quite as much because seafood tends to go bad more quickly than meat does. But even for seafood dishes, I've come back to meals that have been in the refrigerator even 5 days after I've made them, and they still smelled fresh. Now, of course, that depends on your food handling skills and how well you've kept them refrigerated. But yeah, all these meals are designed to keep you fed throughout the week, and that'll do it. So, Parmesan beef meatballs with sweet pepper marinara and charred lemon broccoli. And I'll bring it back to the main screen here. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this recipe for this week. This was, just a just an introduction to this recipe. Um, Obviously, this is meant to inspire you. You don't need to do it exactly the way that I did it. This is if you get some ideas from this and you want to add some different ingredients to it, it'll probably be just as good. Um, this is gonna you're gonna find new ways to do things and new ingredients to add, and I encourage you to do that. Um, if you, however, like this dish exactly the way that I did it in the format with 54 grams of protein per meal, what I recommend you get the entire step-by-step written recipe with all the quantities and the step-by-step directions. And if you want to do that, it's part of the simple program, and you can become a simple insider, which allows you to get all of these new recipes um, with the ingredients, the written breakdown, the quantities, plus you also get uh, the the links to buy all the ingredients in line, which allows you to save a whole lot of time. You can just click to order all these ingredients from Amazon Fresh, and they get delivered right to your house. So you can skip all the shopping. You don't have to drive to the store. You don't have to mess around with the shopping cart. Just get all these ingredients delivered right to your house. You can start cooking them whenever you're ready. And so that's what you can do when you have these online links to order. And that's just one of the perks that you get when you become a Simple Insider, which is the premium subscription to Simple. You also get access to all of the 30 or so recipes that I put together in the last 7 or 8 months. You get you get all the details for each of these recipes as well, which gives you tons of options for how to upgrade your meal prep and plenty of inspiration for becoming a more skilled cook in the kitchen. If you're interested in this, if you want to support what I do, help me keep on making great recipes like these, and keep on putting my insight from my experience in cooking into these new recipes. I really appreciate it if you'd support me with this, and you can do that by becoming a Simple Insider. Um, I'll add that to the notes for this recording, so you can, if you're interested, you can do that. I highly recommend it. So, thank you so much for joining me here. This has been fun talking to the camera like this. I'm not used to doing this. Uh, Hopefully, I'll maybe next time it'll be a bit smoother. But this was fun. Um, yeah, and if you want to read more about what I write, if you want to catch the next recipe that I create, I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. I do this every week. I just put together a new one, and then I release it every Saturday in my email series, which you can subscribe to. Just go to cooksimple.beehive.com/subscribe, and you can get on my email list. And every Saturday morning, you'll get a new meal prep recipe, a high protein recipe delivered to your inbox, and you can get started anytime you're ready. So, thank you so much for joining me. This has been fun, and I will see you next week.